Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Keeping Fish Simple. So in today's vlog, we're going to be doing a few exciting things. The main point of today's vlog is going to be creating our own fish food, because I'm going to put the camera down in a second and talk about a bunch of things, but this whole fish room is going to be kind of revamped now that I've got a little bit of experience on what actually sells really well to wholesalers and to shops and things like that. So I've been going through a little bit of a process of clearing out certain things, starting up new projects and refining different projects to hopefully make this the best business possible. So I'll be talking about that in a second, but in today's vlog, part of that is going to be trying to create some type of fish food to feed to our grow outs. So I'll put the camera down and we'll quickly talk about that, but there's a few other things as well that's going on in the fish room. So some exciting news is we've got another peppermint spawn. So we've actually got a male in here that's on eggs. We're gonna have to strip those fry today, but there's also, I just literally watched this happen, another peppermint spawn that just happened today. So I'll show you guys that later and we'll have to do that. But let's put the camera down and let's have a chat. So I've been in this fish room now since November and it's now halfway through May. So I've been in here for a good 6 months breeding things and figuring out basically what I can do really well. And part of what I've been able to do really well is breed a ton of, obviously I've bred like a mountain of bedders, which are very, very easy to breed. I've also been breeding a ton of angels, and I've actually gotten, I'm like literally watching some angels spawn in front of me. I've gotten to the point where I've got so many pairs going on and I've got so many fry being produced, but part of the problem with the angels is I can only sell so many to the shops until I've completely filled up all the shops, and the wholesalers, they're interested, but I mean, for the amount of money that I'm going to get for them, it's kind of not worth it anymore. So there's been a bunch of different things that have been selling really well and have been making a lot of money. So those things that have been obviously doing really, really well and making a lot of money are rams, cories, rainbow fish, and plecos. So I'm kind of thinking about just really maybe having only like 2 or 3 angel pairs in the fish room and only breeding when I really have the space and the demand for it. I mean, I've been selling a lot of bedders, but the problem with the bedders is the volume. I can't sell as many as I'd like to be selling, so here, we'll fit this up. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. And another part of, this is where it all ties into, a part of breeding a lot of these cichlids is I've been feeding them a lot of pelleted foods, and I'll be completely honest, and I've had customers on the store come back and say that they've not been doing too well with their angels, and I've had like rams getting so bloated that they die from that. So part of that is, I reckon what's happening is the fish are picking out on these pellets that are really, really dry when they eat them, and then when they eat them, the pellets go into their stomach all dry and they soak up a bunch of moisture and they obviously expand, and then it obviously expands the fish's stomach and the fish has a hard time digesting that. So part of that is turning onto wet diets. So we're going to turn onto frozen foods and things that are similar to discus food, hopefully, in an attempt to make, obviously it'll be a little bit cheaper, it'll probably help the fish to grow a little bit more, and we'll feed that like 80% of the time to 90% of the time, and then just supplement with a bit of flake and things like that, which is very, very light on the fish's stomach to hopefully get those vitamins in. So that's the main part of today's vlog, is developing that food. We're going to experiment with a bunch of different recipes at home, mix up a bunch of different things and see what happens and see if the fish like it. I've been feeding a lot of my rams and things like that, which are very, very intelligent fish, a lot of the discus food. I've been feeding a lot of the cory grow outs, tons of my discus food. They absolutely love it. So I'm sure they're going to like it. I think the main challenge is going to be training the really domesticated angels to eat this stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't had any trouble with the bloat with the large adult angels, so I think that's part of the reason. Like, they've got really good muscles around their stomach and it's not causing an issue. So I do think it's related to the food that I'm feeding. So we're going to cancel out that food, hopefully go on to food that I'm preparing myself, and hopefully you guys can get a little bit of inspiration from this video. So I guess without any further ado, let's go to the shop. I'll go and pick up a bunch of ingredients and we'll go back to my kitchen and start making some stuff. Okay, so we've gotten all of our ingredients and we've gotten a brand new food processor. So the reason we've gotten that is because my mum is sick of me using her stuff. So we've gotten our own food processor now. This isn't meant to be a tutorial or anything like that, because I don't really have any idea what I'm doing, but We've got a bunch of different ingredients. We're basically just gonna mix this all up. The ratios don't matter too much. There's a bunch of little things that I will be adding and I'll show you guys what I do. So the main ingredients for this, the staples, are gonna be beef heart, raw prawns. Prawns really help to gel it together and create it into like a really gelatin food. Mussels, cooked mussels, it doesn't really matter too much as long as they don't have like stuff on them. Tuna, for the tuna you want like yellowfin tuna, so it doesn't like matter too much as well with that. And you can also add a bunch of other different like types of meat. Just do a bit of research. I sometimes add barramundi and things like that. Spinach, and then garden peas that are shelled. So what we're gonna do is basically just chuck it all in the food processor. We're gonna cut it up into little chunks and then mix it all together, and we're gonna put it in Ziploc bags. So these are just like large Ziploc bags. We're gonna freeze it and then we can just break off chunks and feed it when we need to. So we're also gonna add garlic to this recipe. We're also gonna add spirulina as well. It's basically just trying to make like a big conglomerate glue of just like a bunch of different things that are puree, and it just combines it all and the fish just pick at it like it's rapashi or something like that. So I guess let's just get into cutting this all up. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the beef heart because this is probably the most important thing to mention. You don't want to incorporate any fat. All you want is the meat. You don't want any of the fat because the fish can't eat the fat. They're not used to digesting it, and there's not really anything that's nutritious in the fat for the fish. So beef heart is a great ingredient for doing this because the first thing about beef heart is it's very, very cheap. This whole heart cost me $3. This is definitely the cheapest ingredient in the whole recipe, so you can see here. I'm just gonna start cutting off all this fat. I don't know why the dogs aren't out here. The dogs normally, the second they hear I'm making discus food, they just run out. So we've got like a dog pile and a discus pile. Okay, so we've just cut up all of our beef heart. So the beef heart is all diced up now, and this was actually a very lean beef heart. So now what we're gonna work on is these prawns. So I'm actually just gonna cut them up into little chunks. This isn't anything too crazy, just so it's easier for the food processor to go through. Now, I personally haven't used prawns before. I actually heard this from my mate Justin, who's been making some of his own fish food as well. He said that it really helps to gel the food together without using something like gelatin. Scruffy! Oh my God. Okay, so we'll put, I think, right. Okay, so we'll add a bit of beef heart and see how it goes. I'm literally just eyeballing this. I have no clue how much I'm gonna add. So I'm just gonna try and do equal parts. I mean, 1 part prawn to 1 part tuna to 1 part mussels to 1 part beef, and then add all that baby spinach in there, try and get it in there. Add some garden peas because the garden peas help as a laxative to try and get all this stuff through. If there's any blockages, it's a natural laxative. And then we'll add some garlic and some spirulina. So I'll just keep going with this. Alrighty, so that should do it. So now what we're gonna do is have a look at it. Oh yes. So this is like kind of what you're aiming for, like it's like literally like a guacamole, except it's like fish and gross stuff. So this is the kind of stuff that you're aiming to get. And now what you're gonna do is get your Ziploc bag, then get a big spoon, just dollop this stuff in there. Like that. I definitely think that prawn helps quite a lot. Press it down. This is literally like gel. So I think that shrimp really does help quite a lot. What you're gonna do is freeze that, like really, really flat, and then you can just snap off chunks when you need. I'll keep doing the rest of this and then I'll catch up with you guys when we go and freeze it. All right, so we've just gotten back to the fish room. This is the storage area for where I keep all of the food and stuff like that. So you can see we've got the last bit of food from last time in here that needs to be used up today, so we'll move that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all of our little bags with all of our discus, well, all of our fish food in here to freeze overnight, and then we can feed it in the morning. So we've got quite a lot of them, and we're just gonna lay them out and try and get them as flat as possible and even as possible. So there's quite a lot of this stuff, and we can just leave that in there until tomorrow morning, and then we can feed it. Okay, and so while we wait for our food to freeze, we can go ahead and we can take out these little fry that I can see right here in this cave with this male peppermint bristlenose. So I'll flip around the camera and I'll show you. You can see right there, the lighting's not all the best, but that guy's fanning away and there's a ton of these guys in there. So we're gonna take out these guys right now and we're gonna put them in a tank. Also, if we come over to this side of the fish room, in this cave, this male's fanning away on some little fry as well. So these are just common bristlenose, but we're gonna strip both of these guys and see how many fry there are. Okay, go ahead and we'll take this guy out now. This guy we did in the last vlog, he had a ton of eggs, well, a ton of wrigglers as well, and he freaked out and he fell out of the cave. So we're gonna try and make sure he doesn't do that this time, but he's looking like he wants to. I'm just gonna slowly get all these little guys out while try and get this guy to stay in the cave. Okay, so I'm pretty happy because I just did a count of these guys and there's over 150, which is the biggest spawn I've ever had. Hopefully in the future I get bigger spawns than this, but I think I'd be being a little bit greedy if I thought that I was gonna get bigger than this. So this is a massive spawn. I've never had this many peps, but we're gonna slowly add these guys to their new tank. So this is a pretty warm tank, which should be really good for them. And they're gonna go in here and do their growing out until they're sellable size. So this is a big 4-footer. There's a ton of these banana fronds and driftwood and things like that that they can go and hide under and munch on. And yeah, this should be an excellent tank for all these little guys to go into. So we'll go ahead and add them. So for their first few days, they're gonna eat baby brine shrimp, mulm, lots of the leaf litter that's in this tank. There's always one. Here he is, come on. Cool. Well, that's a success. You can see them all along the glass here, so very, very happy with this. So now we can do the other bristlenose, which is just a common bristlenose, so not as exciting, but always still very, very exciting, pulling eggs out of the bristlenose caves and seeing how many you got. So you'll have a look in here. Oh yeah. Oh, we got common and albino in this batch. Cool, now I'm just gonna put these in another tank. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow and we'll feed some of the food that we made today to the fish. Alrighty, so it's the next morning, we've got our food here. So what we're gonna do is, sorry for the disgusting floor, I need to give this thing a clean out, but we're gonna open up our Ziploc and we're just gonna break off little chunks of this stuff and we can feed it to our fish now, about that much. And we'll see who likes this stuff. So I guess we'll start off down here in this better tank. You can see all of these beautiful bedders here. Let's chuck that in and we'll see how they like it. In this tank we've got a bunch of these beautiful black samurai bedders, some young red dragon bedders, and just some young like blue marble bedders. So we'll wait for this to sink and I'm sure they're gonna go nuts for it down the bottom of the tank. We can also feed to this tank with all of these little panda cories down the bottom and all these angelfish. These guys have been eating a ton of discus food. I'm sure they're gonna go nuts for this stuff. We've got some guys who are happy customers already, so that should sink. And once that sinks, I'm sure all these little guys are gonna go crazy. And then back over here at the better tank, you can see all these guys have pretty much cleaned up the food. It's literally been about a minute, so there might be some in the middle there, but it seems like it's already all gone. So that didn't take too long, so we got some happy customers here. And then we can try up here, you can see these black rams, they just go crazy for our food, but we'll chuck a bit in here. See, they're all going crazy. Look at them go. You can just hear like the splashing of these guys up the top. No clue where that food's oh, there it is. I don't know if you can see it up the back there, but these guys are just going absolutely crazy for this stuff. Like, everyone in the tank is in this location, like up the back. It's hard because they're all black fish, but you can see the cories are going crazy. The marble angels are going nuts as well. So that's really good to see. These guys seem to like it as well. So that's good. Some discus obviously eating it because they're very used to eating this stuff. Well, it seems that the food is a hit. I mean, I'm looking right here. I wish I had some lights on these tanks. We're going to be doing that in a future vlog, so be around for that. But so our food seems to be a hit. Everyone seems to be enjoying it. One thing I've noticed is if you use like a blender, normally the food sinks, and then if you use a food processor, the food floats. So obviously what's happening is the food processor, because you're making like a mash and you're pouring it into your bags, and there's air pockets stuck in that, so it stays up the top, which I actually think is a little bit better. But if you're trying to get it for your bottom feeders, like your cories and stuff like that, you obviously want it to sink. So the food processor really mixes it well, so it's like a gel instead of it being like the individual ingredients blended together and then they all break apart and they can choose what they want. They have to eat the spinach, they have to eat the spirulina, so that works really, really well. What we're gonna do now to finish up the vlog is I've just had an order from a local fish store, so we're gonna take out some betters and some guppies too. So yeah, I'll take you guys along for that journey. I've just finished up getting all of these fish out. I've got a bunch of these koi female betters, which I'll show you in a second. I've got a bunch of these tiger endlers. I only sold some males this week, but they look fantastic. And if you're interested, I actually sell a lot of these guys on my website, so you can buy them in pairs and breed them yourselves, and they look absolutely fantastic. It's the same with the blue stars that I was just showing you guys before. So we're gonna bag all these guys up, drive them to the shop straight away. Let's go. Okay, so we've just gone to the shop and we've delivered the fish. Now, you're probably all gonna be like, well, why didn't you show us inside of the shop? And most of the time, I really don't like recording in places where I'm selling fish or buying fish and things like that. Normally, people are a bit like weirded out by you recording in there. Sometimes the people who own the shop don't like it and stuff like that, which isn't the case, but I feel like it's just a little bit weird. So we've delivered the fish. That's pretty much gonna wrap the vlog up. So thanks so much for everyone watching. I really do appreciate you guys watching these videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.